The family-owned, award-winning Knoebels Amusement Resort is celebrating 100 years of fun, food, and fantasy. We'll talk with their new president. Hello, everyone. I'm Don Jacobs, and I am at the Knoebels Amusement Resort. And we're going to go wild with DiscoverNEPA, looking at the history of this park. They turn 100 years old this year, and they have a new president. His name is Brian Knoebel.
Knoebels opened 1926. Prior to that, we owned the lumberyard. Before that even, there were tally hoes. Tally ho was somebody who came on the weekends and they would come frolic in the stream. So they would come by horse and buggy, park along the stream. My great-grandfather, Henry, would feed and stable your horses while you swam. Now, some people say it was a dime, and some people say he did it for a quarter. Nobody's been alive long enough to know how much he really charged. So little by little, people found out about this great swimming hole where two creeks come together. Millions of years of water forming created a swimming hole. He put up a fence to keep the animals out because we were farmers. My ancestors, we made Christmas trees and would load them on a truck and take them to various cities and sell them. We made charcoal. Then he built some picnic tables and some park benches, and he built them in the barn here on the property. That barn still exists today. And my great-grandmother, because my Hattie, she heard this ruckus out in the barn, and she said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm building park benches and picnic tables for our guests." And she said, "Well, if you do that, we'll never get out of here." So then in 1925, we began building the Crystal Pool, 900,000 gallons, using creek water. And we built something called the restaurant. Yes, we're very creative. We called it the restaurant. And we rented a steam-powered carousel. And little by little, people would start to come, and a couple of games of chance, and then maybe some more rides, and maybe some more games. And here we are, approaching our 100th season, about 60 rides. We have, I think, 38 food stands. We have 24 games, 600 sites in our campground. We have a campground 3 miles away. We provide transportation. It is quite the business.
Yeah, a dynasty, actually.
Every day I wonder, what would our ancestors think? Would they be proud? Would they be angry? Did we do something wrong? Did we do something right? We have actually about 160 full-time employees. That is everything from carpenters, plumbers, the behind the scenes, the maintenance workers. It is group sales, it is PR, it's marketing, it's HR, the cooks. Seasonally, we have as many as 2,400 team members that, run the rides, the games, they, cook the hamburgers and the French fries, the front-facing positions that you see, pridefully wearing their Knoebels shirt. I don't know our most tenured team member, but I'm pretty certain we have some people that are over 90 years old that still come to work for us. Get up every morning and they bring value, they bring a smile, a lot of heart, and some of my favorite team members that we have here at the park. People say we're not that little park in the middle of nowhere anymore.
No, but accolades. Every time I open a magazine, I look at Facebook, you're receiving the best of something, the most traveled to something. I mean, you got to be proud about that.
Very proud, unbelievably proud. USA Today, not just a little local newspaper. When they name our Alamo restaurant the #1 theme park restaurant, that speaks volumes. In our industry, the Golden Ticket Awards is kind of the Oscars, the Emmys, the ESPYs, whatever you want to call it. And we have won Most Beautiful Carousel so many years in a row, they retired it, and we got the Legacy Award. We have won Best Food, I think 22 out of 25 years. We tied with Dollywood one year. They beat us one year. So we have funny, bantering back and forth with our friends at Dollywood.
The park did see its fair share of floods over the years, but hard work, dedicated family members, and employees knew they had to clean it up and get it ready for the people.
Who would have thought 100 years we'd be in business? Whatever our recipe is, it seems to work. A lot of parks realized you can put up a fence and charge for parking and charge for admission, and more money in their pocket, and they laughed all the way to the bank, and they're not in business anymore. We don't charge to park, and we don't charge for admission, and free picnic area, and free entertainment. And I don't know if that's the key to success. It's surrounding yourselves with dedicated team members who have all share one vision, and one goal. It is Knoebels. My cousin Trevor often says Knoebels is bigger than any one person. And as we look at something very, people will recognize that are watching the show. The Eagle Silk Mill from Shamokin, Pennsylvania. At our antique car ride, we have a gasoline alley up on the roof. We made a, I don't know, 1/12 the scale, 1/10, 1/8 the scale, whatever it was. And what we wanted to do was, and it's a little tough to see, but one of the things, so we're always fun, food, and fantasy, but all the different cogs, all the different gears that make Knoebels operate, we wanted to show it. And you have the pool, and you have the games, and the maintenance, and the rides, and any one of those stop working, the whole clock stops working. If we need everybody to share that one common goal of putting a smile on a guest's face when they come to Knoebels, maybe they're dealing with something that's hitting them right in the heart. Our job is to make them forget about that for just a day. If we can make that happen, the family memories, it's where my family gets its motivation from. And then to see that family come back a second time during the summer, where they could have chosen to go to a Phillies game or go hiking or go kayaking, and they chose to come here, we're doing something right.
So while Knoebels rings the birthday bell on 100 years, Brian tells me you can always expect the traditional old-style rides, but be ready for some changes and an exciting year celebrating 100 years, 2026. Now, for this episode of Go Wild with Discover NEPA and all of the other episodes, you can go to discovernepa.com or subscribe on YouTube.